All this Thunderbikes racing action is proudly brought to you by Bridgestone motorcycle tires, Berwick Leathers, and all the associate sponsors. Hello and welcome to a wet and wild Port Elizabeth at the Aldo Scribante racetrack for another round of the Bridgestone Thunderbike race series. And like I said, as you can see, the weather has turned, and for the first time this season, these are the trickiest conditions that these riders will have to face so far in the 2018 championship. Lance Isaacs is the man to beat, using all that experience that he has, and a big hats off to Jim Tarantino and all the guys from TRP Racing Products for getting those beautiful Bridgestone rain tyres out here to Port Elizabeth for these riders to go out on track and race. A brand new surface here at the Aldo Scribante circuit, so these tyres are really going to be tested to the max. Great to see Riccardo Otto on his Yamaha R6 make his first time in the Thunderbikes, and a regular, it's Jordan Agliotti.
Quali was good, a couple of wet patches, it slowed the pace down quite a bit. Didn't take too many chances to bring the bike back so we can get them ready for race 1 and 2, and hopefully we can go faster then.
Really are the trickiest conditions these riders have had to face so far this season, and the man who has dominated this championship on his Superbets BMW S1000 RR machine, it's your championship leader, Lance Isaacs.
Yeah, it's really good to have a lead in the championship at this very cold and changeable condition round of the Thunderbike Championship. Like I said, it's really good to have a lead in the championship coming in here. Conditions are a bit sketchy this morning. It's kind of wet in some places, and you can't really see where it's wet and where it's dry. So you pretty much for most of the lap you're a passenger. But you know what, Superbets BMW Motorrad S1000 RR is going absolutely well. Can't complain. Only complaint I have that it has too much horsepower down at the coast. So, but we'll get it all dialed in, and we look forward to winning some races this weekend.
Lance is certainly going to have his hands full with the likes of Nicolas Grobler and the returning JADE GUTZEIT for the first time in the 2018 Bridgestone Thunderbike Championship. It's going to be a man to watch out for. There he is, just getting some heat into the body and those tyres before they head out on track for race number 1 action. Riccardo Otto on that little Yamaha R6. Watch out for the man who has raced at the top level of South African motorsport. These riders now getting ready to head out on track, get some heat into those Bridgestone wet weather tyres. As they go out there, you can see one of the Agliotti brothers on the Ridgeway race bar. Honda CBR 1000 machines. Remember, no traction control on those bikes. Gavin Upton on the bright yellow Yamaha R1. He'll have that bike certainly set maybe in rain mode with traction control really up. And joining me in the commentary booth, as always, is Dave Peterson. And Dave, just before we head into race number 1, PE synonymous with great grip previously in the wet, but now with a new surface, it is really going to be a big question mark for these riders.
And rather big test for those Bridgestone tyres, the wet weather tyres. It'll be the first time that these guys have gone out with the new Bridgestone wet weather tyres in the Bridgestone Thunderbikes.
Welcome back to Aldo Scribante down in Port Elizabeth. It's race 1 action now of the Bridgestone Thunderbikes. We are on the grid. There we go, under starters orders now. The lights will come off. Once they go off, let's see, can the pole position man there, Nicolas Grobler, bike 222. Looks like we've got a rider missing from the front row of the grid. It's the local man, Arushan Woodley. He's decided he's not going to take part in these tricky conditions. Lights are on. They're going to go off. A brilliant start from the front row there for Nicolas Grobler, but it does look like Lance Isaacs on the Superbets BMW with the whole shot going into turn 1. Here comes Gavin Upton as well on the Yamaha, and look out for JADE GUTZEIT a little bit further back there. He slots into 4th place going into turn 1. And look at Pierre Grobler, the man from Namibia, going around the outside there of Harry Timmerman.
Pierre Grobler, first time in wet conditions in his entire racing career. Well, he's only about 12 years old anyway, and he's on these wet weather tyres. But look at JADE GUTZEIT. He's mixing it with world superbike riders. He's an off-road guy. He's come to do a bit of road racing. I really like that.
Yeah, he'll love this. He'll love that bike getting all loose underneath him. That's what he's used to from the enduro and off-road scene. He's going to make a move on the inside here at the hairpin. That's going to be one of the favourite overtaking paces. You can see that extra corner speed. He really has got some trust in those Bridgestone wet weather tyres. Tries to get the drive. Remember that Kawasaki, a brilliant electronics package on that bike. He'll have it certainly set in intermediate mode, traction control quite high. As with the BMW, we heard Lance Isaacs saying the trickiest and toughest thing is handling handling all that horsepower in these conditions.
You'd have to put money, though, on the Yamaha R1. That's a much more tractable motor with that big bang firing order that it's got through that crankshaft. You'd think the Yamaha would be more tractable. Look at Lance Isaacs, the grip he's getting. The BMW, the Superbets BMW, standing up on the back end.
Look at this. This is a good battle now for
Great
4th,
guys.
5th and 6th place here. It is that man Pierre Grobler, Gavin Upton and Harry Timmerman. It's a brilliant ride from the second of the Superbets BMW. There is young Ricardo Otto. He's in a good dice there with Jordan Agliotti, Keith Agliotti just behind them. So little R6 man doing everything he can to try and hold off the bigger 1000cc bikes.
Well, man down. It looks like Hein McMahon has bit the dirt there. Hope it's not going to stop the race. Now they're going to continue the race out front. Look at this. We've got Isaacs having a massive dice right now with JADE GUTZEIT. It's BMW versus Kawasaki and a Yamaha just behind them.
GUTZEIT is looking so comfortable in these conditions. That's Hein McMahon on the BMW coming back into Thunderbike racing for the 2018 season, and that's not the way you wanted to do it. But GUTZEIT now putting all kinds of pressure. There's that extra corner speed again around the outside. Isaacs hugs that line, gets this bike stood up and gets good traction out of there. Here comes that battle a little bit further behind. Gavin Upton still at the front of that. But check out Harry Timmerman, the big man on the second of the Superbets. Oh, beautiful line there. Gets it squared off and on the gas. So that dice, we've got two distinctive battles going on here at the front end and in the mid-pack.
The top three are hanging together at the moment. It's a second and a half between. Oh, and we've got a problem here. Wayne Spicer's Kawasaki has blown the motor. Look at the smoke. Don't cross the track. Whatever you do, oil. We don't want oil. Oh, and he crosses the track. Is that meaning we're going to have oil on the circuit? No, at the moment, just yellow flags. No overtaking under yellow flags.
You can't blame poor Wayne Spicer ZX10 because he races in the Red Square Masters Cup and the Bridgestone Thunderbike, so a lot of racing for that poor
and
machine.
About 1 million kilometers this year alone.
And he probably hasn't serviced it either. Harry Timmerman, you can't miss him with that bright yellow rain jacket on. And here come the leaders. Looks like Isaacs has got comfortable, got the tires, the heat in the tires that he wants now. Just starting to use that experience that he's had in many years. Not only racing at top level SA, but also World Superbike Championship on board now with JADE GUTZEIT. Look at these conditions. Look what these riders have to deal with as he goes on the brakes down to second gear. You've got to be feather the front brake, get on the gas ever so gingerly, and just try and get that bike stood up. But he is now starting to close in, so it really is a jigsaw out front.
It looks like Lance seems to be quicker at the end of the straight in the first couple of corners, and this section of track is where JADE GUTZEIT is making a lot of time. This is where the track's absolutely wet. Down the other end, there's a slightly dry line forming. So this is where Jade's making all his time at the moment.
You can see Nicolas Grobler just hanging in there, but doesn't quite have the pace of the two riders out front. Like you said, the Yamaha R1, with the way it delivers the power, should be a lot easier to ride in these conditions. What a ride. Bike number 91 there. That is Pierre Grobler up into 4th place now. He's got ahead of Gavin Upton, and he's bringing Harry Timmerman along for the ride. So that's the two best rides from those two men that we've seen so far this season. Oh, leg out style there from Ricardo Otto as he tries to get that little R6 stopped.
Got the foot down on the ground, and right behind him we've got Jordan Agliotti. He's going to try and pull that 600 in down the main straight. Timmerman though, what a great ride on the Superbets BMW.
Yeah, the BMW, the electronics package on that bike will be really loving the conditions. Yeah, it really does work well in these conditions. You tame down that power just a little bit. You don't want all 200 horsepower. You only want about 160 to 170 of that power that is managed and easy to use. Here we go. Nick Grobler now is closing in on JADE GUTZEIT in that battle for second.
Grobler using the tight line now, putting the power down with the big R1. Out front, Superbets BMW, Lance Isaacs. I think he's got this one under control. Looks like he's riding very smoothly at the moment, but behind him, look out for the action, because Grobler is looking at JADE GUTZEIT as these laps wind down in this race.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's now closed down that gap now. I wonder if GUTZEIT maybe has just had one or two little scary moments and decided just to calm it down. Remember, this is his return to the Bridgestone Thunderbike Championship, to being a top contender in previous years on a Yamaha R1.
Look on the inside for the overtake on the main straight. Does the Yamaha have it?
Oh, Grobler's very late on the brakes. Look at that. Nothing in between those two riders. But Grobler, he knows he can see that second place. I don't think he's got enough pace to catch Lance Isaac at front. Grobler, knee in the dirt. What grip they are getting out of these Bridgestone wet weather tires to put your knee down on this brand new surface.
Grobler's just looking for a way past. So he comes on the inside as we go through the kink up towards that hanger bend. This is the most tricky part, and this is where Jade's been battling a little bit, because Lance Isaacs pulled a second just there. Oh, and we're amongst the lappers as well. Keith Agliotti comes through on the Ridgeway race bar, Westside Motorcycles Honda, and they get through on the inside. Oh, a little bit held up for Nick Grobler.
Now he's got some work to do now there, like I said earlier on the show, Jordan and Keith Agliotti on those old Honda CBR 1000s, no traction control on those bikes, so really having to do it with all the right wrists. But GUTZEIT's got a little bit of a gap now on Grobler after who got held up just a tad bit there from Keith. No such problem for this man. Check it out, the stylish Pierre Grobler a little bit further back there. Harry Timmerman still shadowing him. You can hear the traction control just bubbling as they come out of the left-hander.
Sounds like
there.
an old matchless single cylinder coming out of there, the way that engine's cutting out. But Pierre Grobler, first time out in the wet, his team were really so nervous. Graham from Madar is standing on the side of the track, watching this lighty from Namibia go around the track, and he's going, please don't throw it down the road. Oh, and we're up for the second place dice. This is fantastic. Grobler, can he get past? He is shadowing JADE GUTZEIT. One little mistake and he'll be through.
Yeah, he's definitely got the extra pace now. It looks like GUTZEIT's just struggling to hold the line on the inside there a little bit. And Grobler now, I think it's just a matter of time before he makes that move.
Lining him up
into second place. Here he's going to get the nice wide sweeping line, carry the drive. Can we see a move on the inside here going on the brakes? Here we go, Grobler. Does he make the move? He does go. That's so brave to do. Carrying so much trust in the front end of that Bridgestone wet tyre and up into second place now. Oh, listen to that Yamaha R1 Big Bang motor. Sounds so beautiful as he just lays that power down. And look at the gap he's already pulled. I was said that he didn't have enough pace to close in on Lance Isaacs, but I could be wrong because Nicolas Grobler has really pulled the pin now, and with a couple of laps remaining, he might just have enough time. In these conditions, anything can happen.
And Timmerman is looking once again, the good inside line as they come out of the hairpin. He's looking for Grobler. And speaking of Grobler, look at Nicolas Grobler. He's caught right up to Lance Isaacs in half a lap. Look at the lean angle he's getting. He's really got the confidence going now.
Well, we said that the way the Yamaha R1 delivers the power is a lot smoother, and I think it'll manage the tyres a lot better. And that is certainly coming into play now in the final stage. A little bit of a moment there on the rear tyre there for Nicolas Grobler, but he's holding it all together. And Grobler has now got his bit between his teeth, and he can see the Superbets BMW there, and he can see that he's closing the gap. GUTZEIT going to have to settle for third place now. It'll be a good return there for him. Look at Nicolas Grobler.
This is his favourite spot.
Oh, I don't think he's going to be able to do it there, but the amount of time that he's closed up on Lance Isaacs in only a couple of corners, this is amazing. We're coming down to the checkered flag now, so only 2 corners remaining. Isaacs is going to try and hold that line. Grobler is going to try and get the drive maybe on the inside here. Going into the final turn, does he have enough pace? Lance gets that BMW lit up and he holds a nice tight line. He'll be able to hear that Yamaha R1 now right on his tail.
He's going to go for the inside line, get a good drive up towards that checkered flag. Grobler's got that Yamaha, and Lance Isaac. What a ride from Lance Isaac. A wheelie as they go down towards the checkered flag. Unbelievable ride from Lance Isaacs on the Superbets BM. Behind him, Nick Grobler, JADE GUTZEIT, Pierre Grobler, Gavin Upton, Harry Timmerman and Jordan Agliotti with Ricardo Otto in 8th place.
I got more confident as the race went on. So yes, I'm really happy with the second place, and yeah, we hope it goes better in race 2. Thanks.
Welcome back to the Wet and Wild Aldo Scribante circuit in Port Elizabeth. Track conditions improving somewhat, and great to see. Look at the crowd that have turned out, even despite the weather, really being treated to the extreme festival of motorsport. But it is race 2 of the Bridgestone Thunderbikes we're going to have a look at now. Hein McMahon in the pits there, trying to make some repairs there to his BMW S1000 RR machine to get out for race number 2. You can see that is the track conditions these riders have to deal with. As here we go, JADE GUTZEIT now heading out for race number 2 action of the Bridgestone Thunderbikes. We line up on the grid then. Thumbs up from Nicolas Grobler. He knows he's got the pace to pick up the win here. JADE GUTZEIT, dark visor and all. Love the confidence there. As is Pierre Grobler, the young man. First time out in the wet weather conditions, picking up that 4th place. Brilliant ride. And Dave, I said the track conditions were getting better. They look like they've got even worse. So these riders have really got it to do now in race number 2. There we go, understarters, or the red light comes on. It'll go off. Another brilliant start there from Lance Isaacs from pole position. That BMW really does get hooked up, but right behind him is Nicolas Grobler. And look at these conditions. Look at the haze from the wet weather pouring off those Bridgestone tyres.
I'll be surprised if we manage 12 laps in these conditions, Rob. The track is underwater. The cameras can't even see the riders on the track. Imagine what the riders can see in that haze, as you say, behind them. The spray coming off those tyres. Look at that track. It is absolutely shining. But out front, Lance Isaacs, a repeat of race 1. He has got JADE GUTZEIT on his tail and Nicolas Grobler just behind him.
Ricardo Otto and here come the Agliotti brothers on the west side, Ridgeway Race Bar. Honda, as you can see, taking it very gingerly. Once again, exactly like we saw in race number 1, JADE GUTZEIT putting the pressure on Lance Isaacs in the early stages. Nicolas Grobler just getting himself comfortable with the conditions, a little bit worse than they were in race number 1. So they're going to take a couple of laps, get some heat into those Bridgestone wet tyres, and then start to mount an attack. Much better start that from Gavin Upton there, right up in the mix, but he's still got Pierre Grobler and Harry Timmerman for company as he did in race 1.
What will be happening now? Grobler will be saying, I cannot let JADE GUTZEIT get between myself and Lance Isaac at the front. He's going to have to make a move much earlier in the race. Once again, great ride from Harry Timmerman. He's lost the yellow jacket, probably in pit lane. Somebody stole it to go and clean out the dustbins.
Yeah, certainly going to be feeling a little bit colder out on track. Oh, mistake from JADE GUTZEIT.
Whoa.
Running off at turn 1. Can he hold it all together? Well, if anyone can hold it together in the dirty conditions.
Does he come back on though? Let's see if he wheelies it onto the track.
Yeah, let's see if he does a nice stand-up Roof of Africa style wheelie. Look at that. Full confidence, flat out stuff there from the Roof of Africa man.
And back onto the racing line straight away. He's lost, one position, I think. Gavin Upton's closed on him. It'll be interesting to see now if Gavin can actually run with JADE GUTZEIT on his pace.
Let me tell you, Dave, I've run off at turn 1 before and I didn't quite make it back on track, so I need to go for some lessons there with JADE GUTZEIT, but no such problems for Lance Isaacs. Again, just using that experience, using the good power delivery that BMW's got, done a brilliant job to get that bike set up. There we go, JADE GUTZEIT now. I think he'll be settling for that third place. Listen to him just short shift through those gears as well. You cannot use all the power that's available, but like you said, look at those track conditions.
JADE GUTZEIT now in a lonely third place. This is Agliotti, and he has got Dirk Stolz behind him with his Kawasaki. So good to see Dirk Stolz out there. He's obviously fitted some wet weather tyres onto his bike. Otto running a little bit wide. Out front, Lance Isaacs has got it all his own way. A massive gap now back to Grobler. Nicolas Grobler, I think Grobler looks like he's settling for second place. Isaacs Lance has got this one in the bag with the Superbets BMW. Mind you, there's still 9 laps to go in this race. You never know what happens in the rain.
Yeah, there's a lot of racing still to be done, but Lance Isaacs very mature head on those shoulders, and our championship leader will be looking for another double win of the year. I think he's picked up every win so far this season, although Nicolas Grobler down at Pekisa is the only man to have bettered him.
Big guys.
And look at this here now. Gavin Upton, our former Thunderbikes champion, has got it all to do here with Harry Timmerman. The Superbets BMW team really have done an extremely good job to get those bikes sorted in these tricky conditions. Nicolas Grobler, no answer to Lance Isaacs this time round. Isaacs looks so smooth, calm and collected. Really is the man to beat in these conditions.
They've set that bike up perfectly for those wet weather conditions. JADE GUTZEIT didn't do anything on his bike. He simply put petrol in the tank and went out on the track.
Yeah, I don't think he really minds what kind of setup is in that bike. He can really ride any conditions, any form of motorsport. JADE GUTZEIT is the man to beat. And look at this, Gavin Upton, little wheelie coming out of there. There's Dirk Stolz. Great to see him out for race number 2, and he's in a good battle there with Jordan Agliotti. A little bit further behind him is Keith Agliotti. Ricardo Otto's just battling in these terrible conditions now. Just that young man just, what's happened here?
Looks like the riders are slowing down for some reason. Have we got that's why we've had a crash out on track. That's a replay of Gavin Upton. He's lost the front end and crashed at the S's. So it's a red flag condition that has come out on the track. Our leading riders have now got to go back towards the start-finish line and restart this race without Gavin Upton. It looks like Upton might actually make it back to the restart as well.
Does look like he has made it to the back. Trying to see there. It is Gavin Upton who's made it to the back end of the grid. So he'll start at the back of the grid. So a lot of work to do there for Gavin Upton on the Yamaha R1. Another brilliant start there from Lance Isaacs from pole position. I think this will be a 2-split race now with the red flag coming out on the inside. It's GUTZEIT back up into second place, and he already goes challenging after Lance Isaacs, who would hate to see that red flag come out. He had a massive lead over Nicolas Grobler. JADE GUTZEIT, the biggest winner there, because remember, he ran off in part 1 and he's right in the mix now.
Back into that second position. It's almost a replay of the first part of this race. So we've got 4 laps remaining in this race after that red flag incident when Upton bit the dirt. Hopefully he's okay. It looks like he is back on the track, just checking the lap charts. He is out there at the moment. Look at the conditions. They continue to get worse.
Yeah, Gavin Upton, good thing he's got back out. Oh, Nicolas Grobler is going to chop that line. Oh, that's so brave to do, and JADE GUTZEIT had to back out of that. Didn't want his front wheel taken out there by Grobler, but Grobler knew that he could not get held up. He's got to go with Lance Isaacs if he wants to stand any chance of winning this race.
The problem is, Rob, it's going to be a combination of lap times, race times between part 1 and part 2 of this race. Grobler knows he's actually got to get ahead of Lance Isaacs and pull a gap if he's going to win the race overall.
Yeah, he's going to pull a gap of at least 3 or 4 seconds if he wants to win this race. They both come wheeling onto the front straight there, trying to control all that power. He's in the slipstream now. Is he going to go on the inside? Look how late he dives the front end of that Yamaha R1. He's going to peel it now into turn 1. Very tricky conditions here. Oh, a little bit wide there for Nicolas Grobler, but he pulls it in tight. Will he make a move going into the S's? I don't think their hairpin is going to be his best bet, but he's got to get ahead of Lance Isaacs as soon as possible because he's running out of laps.
Unbelievable race we've got here in the Bridgestone Thunderbikes. One of the best we've had this year. Having said that, they did the same thing at Pekiza. Rob, just to mention behind them, JADE GUTZEIT is following 2 guys who've raced in World Superbikes at the top level, and GUTZEIT is hanging in with them.
There's not enough superlatives for JADE GUTZEIT in any form of motorsport.
Wide,
brilliant job. Oh, Isaacs has run wide. Nicolas Grobler is coming on the inside. Elbows out, going into the left-hander. So already Isaacs starting to feel the pressure here. I wonder if he knows that he doesn't have to necessarily cross the line leading on track. He can let Grobler past and just stick on the tail of him. But knowing Lance, he wants to just go out and put that Superbets BMW at the front end.
And don't forget, once you're behind, you're eating the spray of the rider in front of you. So rather stay in front if you can. But as you said, he could be quite tactical in this race. He's only going to finish with Nick Grobler, and he'll get the overall win.
Going into turn 1, last lap time around. It does look like Grobler is the fastest man on track, and we can visibly see that going into turn. Oh, he gets it a little bit out of shape there. Again, Grobler is really just trying everything he can. They've pulled away from JADE GUTZEIT there in a lonely third place. Pierre Grobler, another brilliant ride there ahead of Harry Timmerman. Gavin Upton making his way through the field after that crash, but this is where Grobler is just so fast. Look at the corner speed and the momentum that he carries, closing right in on Isaacs.
He's got to make it at the hairpin. That's where he's going to go for it. Comes out wide as they go through hanging. He's going to duck up on the inside as we come down on the brakes for the hairpin. No, he can't do it. Lance Isaacs is so late on the brakes. This is going to be a tough one for Grobler.
Where does he go? He's now trying to go around the outside, maybe line up a move on the inside. You can hear the 2 different ways those bikes lay down the power. The 4-cylinder normal inline 4 of the BMW S1000R and the big bang 4-cylinder of the Yamaha R1. Oh, just 2 different motorcycles, 2 different riding styles out front. Great to see these guys in action. This really is world-class stuff. And the Bridgestone Wets have really done a brilliant job here this weekend. And the new surface, big up to Aldo Scribante for the new surface.
Yeah, it's fantastic that they've done this at the track, and the Aldo Scribante circuit definitely really back online with this one. That dice continues for 4th place, but out front, 1st and 2nd, it is Grobler trying everything. Oh, he's got it sideways.
Oh, big mistake there from Nicolas Grobler. He held on to the first one, got it sideways, but couldn't hold on to it again. Oh, just going into a little bit too hard. I think too much engine braking, and down he goes. Isaacs has gone through. JADE GUTZEIT has gone through. Just waiting to see. Here comes Grobler, who could potentially finish on the podium. Pierre Grobler could potentially be taking Nicolas Grobler's place on the podium.
Can't get the bike started, and we're on to the last lap. There's no ways. Look at the mud on the tires.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to make up any ground. Mud all over the place. Nicolas Grobler will be absolutely kicking himself. It was such a good race up to that point. So we see that dice still going on behind. We've got Pierre Grobler, Harry Timmerman behind there as well. Nick Grobler is going to try and beat Harry Timmerman to the line. JADE GUTZEIT looks like he's secure in that 2nd place, but Lance Isaacs, what a ride from our Superbets BMW rider, the championship leader, has put it all together again today at Aldo Scribante, and a nice wheelie as he comes down towards that checkered flag. You couldn't get worse conditions than this.
Lance Isaacs just showing all his authority there by taking the win. JADE GUTZEIT in 2nd. Pierre Grobler rounding out your top 3. Nicolas Grobler recovers to 4th place.
Dean and the boys did an excellent job in getting the bike prepped and ready for whatever the elements, the rain or sunshine. I think we would have done the double here today. And I think with Superbets we placed all our bets on red. So once again, another double win for the weekend. We take home the overall, extending the points gap in the championship. And we're looking forward to the next one down in my hometown of Cape Town.
Another good day in the saddle for JADE GUTZEIT, who, despite having a few hairy moments out on track, one of those being that tank slapper, picked up another podium.
I think I've hit 2nd in the Thunderbikes for the day, which is really nice. I've had a great time, and the rain's a bit of a leveler for everybody, so If you can hang it and you don't mind getting wet and not being able to see too much and getting misted in the helmet, then you can still have fun and mix it with Lance and the rest of the fast guys.
Another all-action ride from Nicolas Grobler, who unfortunately ended up in the dirt.
Going into the last lap, first corner, I just locked up the rear. It spun me off, and that was that. What can I do? I just want to thank Leroy and everyone for coming through. I know it wasn't the best result for the weekend, but I'm happy.
All this Thunderbike racing action is proudly brought to you by Bridgestone motorcycle tyres, Berwick Leathers, and all the associate sponsors.